When I was young, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and at the age of 15 had Harrington rod surgery. Through the years, I did very well. I had a lot of good years with no pain, no suffering. As I got older, I started to have more pain and inflammation and suffering. And I found Dr. Joe in 2013 when I was going to Celebrate Your Life. He was a speaker there, and I hadn't heard of him before, so I was intrigued by his story because he was facing fusion surgery just as I had. And at that time I was experiencing a lot of chronic pain, inflammation and suffering, and I saw him and he looked perfectly fine, and I thought, if he can do it, I can do it. I want to see what is it that he's done, what can I do for myself. So I began my journey. I saw him, I watched him lecture, I bought his books, and that's where I started the work. And it was difficult at first. It took me a long time to do the meditations. It started out with just a couple of minutes, and then I would do longer periods of time, and I worked my way through it. It was a long journey, but the payoff in those moments when I was doing those meditations and there was no pain, that was the light. That's what made it so wonderful and magnificent. So I kept doing it and doing it. And he came to Toronto in 2014, and I went to a progressive workshop. And at that time, I drove in on my mobility scooter because I wasn't able to walk, and I was using a cane. I was in a pretty dark place at that point, so it was time to find an answer other than surgery. So I went to the progressive. During the weekend, the momentum was building and I was experiencing less and less pain. I left my cane under the table and went for lunch. It was amazing. I did have a very profound experience in the late afternoon meditation. I was shown a vision of myself, and I had huge shackles on my wrists and my ankles and chains, and I was sitting in a chair tied to the floor, and I could feel the heaviness and weight of the pain and suffering that I had carried for so long. And I just watched myself sitting there feeling that. And then it went away. And then Sunday came, we did more meditation, and Sunday afternoon in the meditation, I felt it coming. I felt something was coming, and the light shot through the top of my head, and it shot right through my body, all the way down through my body. And then I saw myself sitting there with the light coming through, and the shackles, they cracked on all my wrists, on my ankles, and the chains broke away. And there was a voice, and it said to me, "You're free. You need to move forward now." And I just sat there looking at myself and feeling this weight lifted. And I took some really deep breaths, and I just started to cry. So I sat there for a few minutes just gathering myself, thinking, what has just happened? There's no pain. I'm free. And I walked 2 blocks that night with my husband for supper, and it was the first time I had ever done that in such a long time. And he drove my scooter back to the car and put it away. He took my cane because I wanted nothing to do with that anymore. I was free. And so I returned home. I did the work and just really appreciated and enjoyed not having that chronic pain weighing me down and holding me down. I was free to, do my laundry, to get my groceries, to drive my car, to walk my dogs. And I kept doing the work and doing the work. Time passed, and then I had a very difficult time in my life that took me away from the work. And slowly over time, the pain came back, and it was debilitating. And in this time now, I see that I gave my power away to that. But in that moment, when the pain comes back to you, and you focus your attention there, it brings it back, it brings it back. I was suffering again terribly. In 2016, I ended up having a revision surgery. They took, it was a 6.5-hour surgery. They removed the old metal. They went in and they put in 2 rods on each side of my spine, and they went an additional 4 inches up. So now I'm fused from T3 to L4 completely on both sides, 2 rods. That was a difficult recovery. It was hard, but I started doing the work again, and I saw myself, I'll be okay. I'm gonna get through this. I recovered, was able to regain a bit more of my independence again. Life came back, and I was doing things, spending time and being able to do activities with my daughter, do activities with my husband, and have a life again. And then again, we had another big blow up in our life, and I got pulled away again. And somehow I get put on the back burner because there's more important things to look at, to focus on. And it took my independence away again. And I wasn't able to drive, and I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do. My doctor, my surgeon had said to me, we need to fuse the last few vertebrae in the lower part of my back, and we need to fuse your SI joint. I don't want to do that. I want you to hold on as long as you can, because you're not going to be able to move the same. You're going to have to learn to walk and bend and move the same all over again. So I worked really hard at not giving in. I did the work, I did the meditations, I was seeing myself whole and healed. And the opportunity of Niagara Falls came. And we made arrangements for me to go. And I knew at that point, this was it. This was the point for me. You have to do this work, you have to stay on it. You can't give up, you have to keep going. I put my name in to be a healee, and I just let it go. Just like, if it's meant to be, it's gonna happen for me. So I went to Niagara, and I had my walking cane. It was just an amazing week. I could feel the energy building right away as soon as I got there, and I knew this was my moment, this was my chance. I'm gonna do this time around, and I'm gonna stick to it. This is for me now. It's not for everybody else anymore, it's about me. I did the walking meditations, and I walked those meditations with my head held high, and I knew that this was my moment. I'm not turning back. I see myself whole, healed, and I'm free. And it was just, I was a healee. I had another beautiful experience. I laid on the floor, and I could see these beautiful people around me, and I closed my eyes, and I just was one with the floor. And then my heart center, there was like a light that just shot out, and my heart blew open, and it shot up in the air, and my body went and contorted into a way that I don't even know how it did it. It just did it for a moment and then back down, and it was like a release, something released. And I knew in that moment that was it for me. I'm healed. I never looked back since that day. I have been doing the work every day. A precious gift was given to me last year when I was offered to be a part of Coherence, Dr. Joe's Coherence Healing group. And each and every day, when I do those meditations and I send that healing love to those healees, it's just another opportunity to give back, to be able to show people that it's possible. Anything's possible. We all have it within us. You just gotta find that juju in there and just, you just gotta find the juju. When you find it, you hang on to it and you remember it each and every day. I golf now. I walk my dogs. I shop for myself. I drive my car. I am independent and I'm free, and I'm just so very grateful for everything that Dr. Joe has done for us, given us the tools, and given us the space to do this work. That's my story. I just wanted to share it, that you just can't give up. We're all worthy of love. We're all worthy of healing, and we all have it within us to do it. That's the most beautiful part, is when you can connect with that and you know that you are in control. This is just the vessel that we live in, and we are in control of it. You have to come first in order to be able to do the work and give yourself that time every day and feel the gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful every day before my feet hit the floor. Every morning I give thanks. I did this for me. I brought myself to this point. I make the choice every day to give myself the gift of being who I am in this here and now.